Palm oil is an edible vegetable oil derived from the mesocarp. It's a reddish pulp of the fruit of the oil palms, primarily the African oil palm Elaeis guineensis, and to a lesser extent from the American oil palm Elaeis oleifera and the maripa palm Attalea maripa. The use of palm oil in food and beauty products has attracted the concern of environmental groups. The high oil yield of the trees has encouraged wider cultivation, leading to the clearing of forests in parts of Indonesia and Malaysia to make space for oil palm monoculture. This has resulted in significant acreage losses of the natural habitat of the 3 surviving species of orangutan. One species in particular, the Sumatran orangutan, has been listed as critically endangered. Elaeis guineensis is a species of palm commonly just called oil palm, but also sometimes African oil palm or maca. It is the principal source of palm oil. It is native to West and Southwest Africa. Specifically the area between Angola and the Gambia. The species name guineensis refers to the name for the area, Guinea, and not the modern country which now bears that name. The species is also now naturalized in Madagascar, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Indonesia, Central America, Cambodia, the West Indies, and several islands in the Indian and Pacific Oceans. The closely related American oil palm Elaeis oleifera and a more distantly related palm, Attalea maripa, are also used to produce palm oil. Human use of oil palms may date as far back as 5,000 years in West Africa. In the late 1800s, archaeologists discovered palm oil in a tomb at Abydos dating back to 3000 BCE. It is thought that Arab traders brought the oil palm to Egypt. The first Western person to describe it and bring back seeds was the French naturalist Michel Audonson. Oil palms can produce much more oil per unit of land area than most other oil-producing plants, about 9 times more than soy, and 4.5 times more than rapeseed. Humans used oil palms as far back as 5,000 years. In the late 1800s, archaeologists discovered a substance that they concluded was originally palm oil in a tomb at Abydos dating back to 3000 BCE. It is believed that traders brought oil palm to Egypt. Palm oil from E. guineensis has long been recognized in West and Central African countries, and is widely used as a cooking oil. European merchants trading with West Africa occasionally purchased palm oil for use as a cooking oil in Europe. Palm oil became a highly sought-after commodity by British traders for use as an industrial lubricant for machinery during Britain's Industrial Revolution. Palm oil formed the basis of soap products, such as Lever Brothers, now known as Unilever Sunlight Soap, and the American Palmolive brand. By around 1870, palm oil constituted the primary export of some West African countries, although this was overtaken by cocoa in the 1880s with the introduction of colonial European cocoa plantations. Palm oil, like all fats, is composed of fatty acids, esterified with glycerol. Palm oil has an especially high concentration of saturated fat, specifically the 16-carbon saturated fatty acid, palmitic acid, to which it gives its name. Monounsaturated oleic acid is also a major constituent of palm oil. Unrefined palm oil is a significant source of tocotrienol, part of the vitamin E family. Red palm oil is rich in carotene, such as alpha-carotene, beta-carotene and lycopene, which give it a characteristic dark red color. However, palm oil that has been refined, bleached and deodorized from crude palm oil called refined, bleached and deodorized does not contain carotenes. Palm oil is naturally reddish in color because of a high beta-carotene content. It is not to be confused with palm kernel oil derived from the kernel of the same fruit, or coconut oil. Derived from the kernel of the coconut palm, Cocos nocifera. The differences are in color. Raw palm kernel oil lacks carotenoids and is not red, and in saturated fat content. Palm mesocarp oil is 49% saturated, while palm kernel oil and coconut oil are 81% and 86% saturated fats, respectively. However, crude red palm oil that has been refined, bleached and deodorized. A common commodity called refined bleached and deodorized palm oil, does not contain carotenoids. Many industrial food applications of palm oil use fractionated components of palm oil, often listed as modified palm oil, whose saturation levels can reach 90%. These modified palm oils can become highly saturated, but are not necessarily hydrogenated. The oil palm produces bunches containing many fruits with the fleshy mesocarp enclosing a kernel that is covered by a very hard shell. The Food and Agriculture Organization considers palm oil coming from the pulp and palm kernels to be primary products. The oil extraction rate from a bunch varies from 17 to 27% for palm oil, and from 4 to 10% for palm kernels. Along with coconut oil, palm oil is one of the few highly saturated vegetable fats and is semi-solid at room temperature. Palm oil is a common cooking ingredient in the tropical belt of Africa, Southeast Asia and parts of Brazil. Its use in the commercial food industry in other parts of the world is widespread because of its lower cost and the high oxidative stability, saturation, of the refined product when used for frying. One source reported that humans consumed an average 17 pounds or 7.7 kilogram of palm oil per person in 2015. Many processed foods either contain palm oil or various ingredients made from it. After milling, various palm oil products are made using refining processes. First is fractionation, with crystallization and separation processes to obtain solid, palm stearin, and liquid, olein, fractions. Then melting and degumming removes impurities. Then the oil is filtered and bleached. Physical refining clarification needed removes smells and coloration to produce refined, bleached and deodorized palm oil. Refined bleached deodorized palm oil and free fatty acids, clarification needed, which are used in the manufacture of soaps, washing powder and other products. Refined bleached deodorized palm oil is the basic palm oil product sold on the world's commodity markets. Many companies fractionate it further to produce palm oil for cooking oil, or process it into other products. Red palm oil. Since the mid-1990s, red palm oil has been cold pressed from the fruit of the oil palm and bottled for use as a cooking oil, in addition to other uses such as being blended into mayonnaise and vegetable oil. Oil produced from palm fruit is called red palm oil or just palm oil. It is around 50% saturated fat, considerably less than palm kernel oil, and 40% unsaturated fat and 10% polyunsaturated fat. In its unprocessed state, red palm oil has an intense deep red color because of its abundant carotene content. Like palm kernel oil, red palm oil contains around 50% medium-chain fatty acids, but it also contains the following nutrients: carotenoids, such as alpha-carotene, beta-carotene, and lycopene, sterols, vitamin E, white palm oil. White palm oil is the result of processing and refining. When refined, the palm oil loses its deep red color. It is extensively used in food manufacture and can be found in a variety of processed foods, including peanut butter and chips. It is often labeled as palm shortening and is used as a replacement ingredient for hydrogenated fats in a variety of baked and fried products. The highly saturated nature of palm oil renders it solid at room temperature in temperate regions, making it a cheap substitute for butter or hydrogenated vegetable oils in uses where solid fat is desirable, such as the making of pastry dough and baked goods. The health concerns related to trans fats in hydrogenated vegetable oils may have contributed to the increasing use of palm oil in the food industry. Palm oil is also used in animal feed. Palm oil is used to make milk substitutes to feed calves in dairies. These milk substitutes contain 30% milk powder and the remainder of raw protein made from skimmed milk powder, whey powder, and vegetable fats, mostly coconut oil and palm oil. Palm oil is used to produce both methyl ester and hydrodeoxygenated biodiesel. Palm oil methyl ester is created through a process called transesterification. Palm oil biodiesel is often blended with other fuels to create palm oil biodiesel blends. Palm oil biodiesel meets the European N 14214 standard for biodiesels. Hydrodeoxygenated biodiesel is produced by direct hydrogenolysis of the fat into alkanes and propane. The world's largest palm oil biodiesel plant is the €550 million Finnish-operated Nest Oil biodiesel plant in Singapore, which opened in 2011 with a capacity of 800,000 tons per year and produces hydrodeoxygenated Nextol biodiesel from palm oil imported from Malaysia and Indonesia. Significant amounts of palm oil exports to Europe are converted to biodiesel as of early 2018, Indonesia 40%, Malaysia 30%. In 2014, almost half of all the palm oil in Europe was burnt as car and truck fuel. As of 2018, one half of Europe's palm oil imports were used for biodiesel. Use of palm oil as biodiesel generates 3 times the carbon emissions as using fossil fuel, and, for example, biodiesel made from Indonesian palm oil makes the global carbon problem worse, not better. The organic waste matter that is produced when processing oil palm, including oil palm shells and oil palm fruit bunches, can also be used to produce energy. This waste material can be converted into pellets that can be used as a biofuel. Additionally, palm oil that has been used to fry foods can be converted into methyl esters for biodiesel. The used cooking oil is chemically treated to create a biodiesel similar to petroleum diesel. In wound care, although palm oil is applied to wounds for its supposed antimicrobial effects, research does not confirm its effectiveness. In 2016, the global production of palm oil was estimated at 62.6 million tons, 2.7 million tons more than in 2015. The palm oil production value was estimated at $39.3 billion in 2016, an increase of $2.4 billion, or plus 7%, against the production figure recorded in the previous year. Between 1962 and 1982, global exports of palm oil increased from around 500,000 to 2.4 million tons annually. And in 2008, world production of palm oil and palm kernel oil amounted to 48 million tons. According to Food and Agriculture Organization forecasts, by 2020 the global demand for palm oil will double, and triple by 2050. In 2018 to 2019, world production of palm oil 73.5 million tons. Indonesia. Indonesia is the world's largest producer of palm oil, surpassing Malaysia in 2006, producing more than 20.9 million tons, a number that has since risen to over 34.5 million tons 2016 output. Indonesia expects to double production by the end of 2030. By 2019, this number was 51.8 million tons. At the end of 2010, 60% of the output was exported in the form of crude palm oil. Food and Agriculture Organization data shows production increased by over 400% between 1994 and 2004, to over 8.7 million metric tons. Malaysia. Malaysia is the world's second largest producer of palm oil. In 1992, in response to concerns about deforestation, the government of Malaysia pledged to limit the expansion of palm oil plantations by retaining a minimum of half the nation's land as forest cover. In 2012, produced 18.8 million tons of crude palm oil on roughly 5 million hectares or 19,000 square miles of land. Though Indonesia produces more palm oil, Malaysia is the world's largest exporter of palm oil, having exported 18 million tons of palm oil products in 2011. India, China, Pakistan, the European Union and the United States are the primary importers of Malaysian palm oil products. In 2016, palm oil prices jumped to a 4-year high days after Trump's election victory in the US. Nigeria. As of 2018, Nigeria was the third largest producer, with approximately 2.3 million hectares or 5.7 million acres under cultivation. Until 1934, Nigeria had been the world's largest producer. Both small and large-scale producers participated in the industry. Thailand. Thailand is the world's third largest producer of crude palm oil, producing approximately 2 million tons per year, or 1.2% of global output. Nearly all of Thai production is consumed locally. Almost 85% of palm plantations and extraction mills are in South Thailand. At year-end 2016, 4.7 to 5.8 million rice, 750,000 to 930,000 hectares were planted in oil palms, employing 300,000 farmers. Mostly on small land holdings of 20 rai, 3.2 ha. ASEAN as a region accounts for 52.5 million tons of palm oil production, about 85% of the world total and more than 90% of global exports. Indonesia accounts for 52% of world exports. Malaysian exports total 38%. The biggest consumers of palm oil are India, the European Union, and China, with the three consuming nearly 50% of world exports. Thailand's Department of Internal Trade usually sets the price of crude palm oil and refined palm oil. Thai farmers have a relatively low yield compared to those in Malaysia and Indonesia. Thai palm oil crops yield 4 to 17% oil compared to around 20% in competing countries. In addition, Indonesian and Malaysian oil palm plantations are 10 times the size of Thai plantations. Colombia. In 2018, total palm oil production in Colombia reached 1.6 million tons, representing some 8% of national agricultural GDP and benefiting mainly smallholders. 65% of Colombia's palm oil sector. According to a study from the Environmental, Science and Policy, Colombia has the potential to produce sustainable palm oil without causing deforestation. In addition, palm oil and other crops provide a productive alternative for illegal crops, like coca. Ecuador aims to help palm oil producers switch to sustainable methods and achieve Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil recertification under initiatives to develop greener industries. Other countries, a satellite image showing deforestation in Malaysian Borneo to allow the plantation of oil palm. Palm is native to the wetlands of Western Africa, and South Benin already hosts many palm plantations. Its agricultural revival program has identified many thousands of hectares of land as suitable for new oil palm export plantations. In spite of the economic benefits, non-governmental organizations, such as Nature Tropicale, claim biofuels will compete with domestic food production in some existing prime agricultural sites. Other areas comprise peatland, whose drainage would have a deleterious environmental impact. They are also concerned genetically modified plants will be introduced into the region, jeopardizing the current premium paid for their non-genetically modified crops. According to recent article by National Geographic, most palm oil in Benin is still produced by women for domestic use. The FAO additionally states that peasants in Benin practice agroecology. They harvest palm fruit from small farms and the palm oil is mostly used for local consumption. Cameroon had a production project underway initiated by Heracles Farms in the US. However, the project was halted under the pressure of civil society organizations in Cameroon. Before the project was halted, Heracles left the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil early in negotiations. The project has been controversial due to opposition from villagers and the location of the project in a sensitive region for biodiversity. Kenya's domestic production of edible oils covers about a third of its annual demand, estimated at around 380,000 tons. The rest is imported at a cost of around $140 million a year, making edible oil the country's second most important import after petroleum. Since 1993, a new hybrid variety of cold-tolerant, high-yielding oil palm has been promoted by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations in Western Kenya. As well as alleviating the country's deficit of edible oils while providing an important cash crop, it is claimed to have environmental benefits in the region. Because it does not compete against food crops or native vegetation and it provides stabilization for the soil. Ghana has a lot of palm nut species, which may become an important contributor to the agriculture of the region. Although Ghana has multiple palm species, ranging from local palm nuts to other species locally called agric, it was only marketed locally and to neighboring countries. Production is now expanding as major investment funds are purchasing plantations, because Ghana is considered a major growth area for palm oil. In Borneo, the forest is being replaced by oil palm plantations. These changes are irreversible for all practical purposes. The palm oil industry has had both positive and negative impacts on workers, indigenous peoples, and residents of palm oil producing communities. Palm oil production provides employment opportunities, and has been shown to improve infrastructure, social services, and reduce poverty. However, in some cases, oil palm plantations have developed lands without consultation or compensation of the indigenous people inhabiting the land, resulting in social conflict. The use of illegal immigrants in Malaysia has also raised concerns about working conditions within the palm oil industry. Some social initiatives use palm oil cultivation as part of poverty alleviation strategies. Examples include the UN Food and Agriculture Organization's hybrid oil palm project in western Kenya, which improves incomes and diets of local populations, and Malaysia's Federal Land Development Authority and Federal Land Consolidation and Rehabilitation Authority, which both support rural development. The use of palm oil in the production of biodiesel has led to concerns that the need for fuel is being placed ahead of the need for food, leading to malnutrition in developing nations. This is known as the food versus fuel debate. According to a 2008 report published in the Renewable and Sustainable Energy Reviews, palm oil was determined to be a sustainable source of both food and biofuel, and the production of palm oil biodiesel does not pose a threat to edible palm oil supplies. According to a 2009 study published in the Environmental Science and Policy Journal, palm oil biodiesel might increase the demand for palm oil in the future, resulting in the expansion of palm oil production, and therefore an increased supply of food. One report indicated numerous allegations of human rights violations in the production of palm oil in Indonesia and Malaysia, including exposure to hazardous pesticides, child labor, and rape and sexual abuse, and unsafe carrying loads. These incidents may receive no response by the company or police, or are left unreported because victims fear retaliation from their abuser. The chemicals used in the pesticides, such as paraquat and glyphosate, have been banned in other countries because they may be pathogens in diseases, such as Parkinson's disease and cancer. While only 5% of the world's vegetable oil farmland is used for palm plantations, palm cultivation produces 38% of the world's total vegetable oil supply. In terms of oil yield, a palm plantation is 10 times more productive than soybean, sunflower, or rapeseed cultivation because the palm fruit and kernel both provide usable oil. Palm oil is the most sustainable vegetable oil in terms of yield, requiring 1/9 of land used by other vegetable oil crops. In the future, laboratory-grown microbes might achieve higher yields per unit of land at comparable prices. However, palm oil cultivation has been criticized for its impact on the natural environment, including deforestation, loss of natural habitats, and greenhouse gas emissions which have threatened critically endangered species, such as the orangutan and Sumatran tiger. Environmental groups such as Greenpeace and Friends of the Earth oppose the use of palm oil biofuels, claiming that the deforestation caused by oil palm plantations is more damaging for the climate than the benefits gained by switching to biofuel and using the palms as carbon sinks. A 2018 study by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, concluded that palm oil is here to stay due to its higher productivity compared with many other vegetable oils. The IUCN maintains that replacing palm oil with other vegetable oils would necessitate greater amounts of agricultural land, negatively affecting biodiversity. The IUCN advocates better practices in the palm oil industry, including the prevention of plantations from expanding into forested regions and creating a demand for certified and sustainable palm oil products. In 2019, the Rainforest Action Network surveyed 8 global brands involved in palm oil extraction in the Elaeis ecosystem, and said that none was performing adequately in avoiding conflict palm oil. Many of the companies told The Guardian they were working to improve their performance. A WWF scorecard rated only 15 out of 173 companies as performing well. In 2020 a study by Chain Reaction Research concluded that NDPE, no deforestation, no peat, no exploitation, policies cover 83% of palm oil refineries. NDPE policies are, according to the Chain Reaction Research, the most effective private mechanism to cut the direct link with deforestation, due to the economic leverage refineries have over palm oil growers.